Have you ever had a really big secret? Josh Baskin has.
I turned into a grown-up, Mom.
But no one would believe him.
It's Josh.
Not his best friend. Not his girlfriend.
Before I met you, I was in Little League.
Oh, right. And just yesterday, I was a schoolgirl with pigtails.
Not even his mother.
What have you done to my son? I am your son, Mom. Where is my child?
Tom Hanks. Big. Rated PG. Starts Friday, June 3rd at theaters everywhere.
Hey, Nam.
Hi, Jeremy.
So, Nam, when you were younger, just out of curiosity, because
Which
you
was
know,
about
because
30
you know,
years ago.
yeah, because you know, you're pretty old. I'm pretty old, and everything like that.
It wasn't 30 years ago, but it was close to that.
What did you actually want to be when you want to grow up?
I wanted to be a weatherman.
No, you did not.
No, dead
You're
serious.
trolling.
No, dead serious.
Why?
I wanted to be a weatherman. I don't know. Tornadoes fascinate me. Growing up in Oklahoma.
Who gets fascinated by tornadoes?
Yeah, just when I was growing up in Oklahoma, you know, here in Oklahoma, I had always been fascinated with like tornadoes and stuff like that. So I always wanted to be a weatherman or
Did you
a
actually
tornado
like practice in the mirror and all that?
No, I didn't do that. I mean, there was that, and I also wanted to be a professional wrestler in the next event.
That I remember you saying. I was like, okay.
That one being a professional wrestler, and then also an NBA basketball player. But I didn't get not until I got older that I wanted to be a basketball player or a wrestler. But the first thing I always wanted to be was a weatherman.
I wanted to be a director
Did you?
for movies. Yeah, I think it's because Steven Spielberg brought that to my attention.
What movie? What movie?
Third Encounter of a Third Kind, E.T.
Well, those are the movies that got you to want to be a director, or
Yeah, just like the fact that you can put your imagination on the screen.
oh, okay.
You know, so I watch a lot of movies when I was young, cartoons and stuff. Like I want to do something where I can like direct something. And honestly, when I was little, I thought direct means like all of it, like drawing,
like
all
creative.
yeah.
You wanted to be somebody that created.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I
content.
wanted to do something like that when I was young, but like, you know, as of course you get older, you know, you realize like you have to really know the business or take that giant leap of faith and go to Hollywood and see if you can do it.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. But I was just a small time boy living in a small town of Stillwater. So, only a kid can dream big. I'm not saying it's too late, but still. But no, that was something I really wanted to do. I really got into filming. You know, that's when later on in my life I started working on film ideas like dance videos and whatnot some way and all that.
Yeah.
The only reason why is because, like, do you wish that when you were young that you wish you were adult at that time? Like, say you were born in the 80s. Do you wish you were adult in the 80s so you can see how it felt like to live it? I always wonder, like, how would I feel growing up in the 80s? Like, just that transition of the fashion, how all that stuff worked. Like, was that something that you would have been interested in?
We grew up in the 80s. What you're saying is,
like, would you like to be adult, living in the 80s?
Adult in the 80s and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. I think everyone has kind of like that wish, like they could go back and be younger but keep their present self. Like keep the present self mentality.
Yeah.
Just because you learn so much as you grow up. But no, I definitely wouldn't have minded it back in the 80s. I think during the 80s, times was so much simpler, right? Mm-hmm. I know we're talking about 2019 now, and things nowadays are just so, I guess, complicated. Mm-hmm. Not really complicated and sensitive. Mm-hmm. I think were the two words that I would go with. But then you wouldn't have the technology,
right?
That you did back in the 80s. But I think during the 80s, it was a lot simpler. I think things, I would say they feel like they're easier because they were just simpler and they were just easier going times. Mm-hmm. So I would love to go back during those times, but you know, it's funny because the way I act now, I act more like a kid now than I did.
I feel the same way.
Did back as a kid and stuff. I felt that. I mean, I did kid things, but I also felt like I was a little bit more reserved as a kid.
Well, it's funny, too, because like all the activities that your parents or people around that time treated up as kids would play, it's now that generation now. Like, you know, video games was supposed to be meant for kids, apparently, to people. But now that evolutionized and it's changed to now adults can get into it. Yeah, you know, there's just certain things that were strict. We thought they were strictly going to be for kids only, but it grew with our... You know,
and you get to it now, and then kids nowadays start with like electronics and stuff like that earlier in their lives before they ever, get to do it now. Like we didn't touch our first Nintendo until we're like, what, 9, 10,
Right.
8, 9, 10, somewhere around that range.
Right. So you chose one of, I want to say, is this one of your top 3, top 5 Tom Hanks favorite films?
I don't really know.
We'll have to find out after this one, because you
we'll have to
chose
find-
Big.
I did. I chose Big. It was my 1980s movie. And I remember watching this as a kid, and I enjoyed it as a kid. But I haven't really seen it since then. So I really wanted to do a rewatch on that and then see how I feel about it now compared to what it was a kid. But I always loved the idea, right, that you go up to the little fortune person, and then you do the little fortune thing, and all of a sudden you become an adult, and then you have to live a life as an adult and whatnot.
A lot of movies have done that the past generation. 13 going on 30.
Yeah, I think Big was definitely one of the ones that kind of stuck out there, and plus it was Tom Hanks, right? Of course, back then Tom Hanks was just on the rise, and I think this is one of the movies that kind of put him on the map, if not put him on the map completely. So I'm excited to see it because Tom Hanks is by far one of my favorite actors.
Right.
Not only is he one of my favorite actors, I think he looks like one of those people you can just go up to and just talk to. Like he looks very nicest person that celebrity that you'll ever meet. And actually, he has a reputation about being just like the nicest person that you can possibly meet out in public. So I'm excited about it. What about you?
I'm excited. I never really watch a lot of films where it's about a kid that wants to grow up quick and see how it feels to be an adult, because I think I think I connect that when I was young. Of course, when I was little, I was like, man, the adults are all doing the cool stuff. I want to do that. And then now becoming an adult, you realize there's more to it because you have these things called responsibilities. But in this kid, that's what it's funny because in this movie it shows that he's just doing stuff just to see what it's like. I want to know how it feels to have a job. I'm going to go do a job.
Yeah, you're talking about the trailer.
Yeah, the trailer showed and everything like that. So let's talk about the trailer.
Yeah. So I will tell you this. There's a couple key scenes in the trailer that I remember from the movie that isn't in the trailer in itself, but it does a really good job of depicting just kind of the innocence of being a child and then becoming an adult and then just kind of being a child in an adult's body and just moving forward. What's interesting about it too, though, is how when you're a kid and when you watch it, you think differently. You're just kind of like, oh, that's kiddish things. But as you're an adult and you watch it, you start catching the innuendos and the different adult jokes.
Yes,
that you're just like, oh my god, I can't remember that was even in that.
Right.
So I can't wait to watch it because I'm pretty sure it's been about 20 years since I've watched.
Oh wow. Movie. Okay. And this will be my first time.
Yeah, this will be your first time. It's been about 20 years since I watched this movie. I don't think I watched this movie since I was in high school or junior high. But I think, to me, the way they progressed and just kind of showed the little tidbits of him being like a kid, Tom Hanks being a kid, which I think is perfect for him to be in this role, to be a kid and then just kind of do adult stuff. It suits him and his personality and his comic relief. So I can't wait to watch it again. How did you feel about the trailer?
I was laughing more of people interacting with him than him himself because they don't know what his story is. So the actress was really the most appealing part because she has to adapt, but she doesn't know.
She doesn't know that he's a kid.
And she's trying really hard because she really likes him.
Yeah.
And he doesn't understand. And I think that's the fun conflict there.
Yeah. Yeah, like the adult aspect of things. And you just, she doesn't know. He doesn't realize it because he's oblivious.
Yeah.
Like you wish things like that happened to you in real life, right?
Yes, exactly.
That somebody would, like a girl would just dig on a guy so much. And then you just be like, you're just like, oh, wait a minute, she really likes me.
Yeah,
All right,
Because the funniest part, and you probably heard it in the trailer at the beginning, was the part where she's trying to want to go to bed with him, and he's like, okay, but I call Tom, and he jumps on top of the bunk bed.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she was just like, yeah, can I stay over? It's just like a sleepover. Sure, I got top. So it makes it really, really cool. But a fun fact, because I think one that I'll throw it to you because this will be your first time watching it too. But this movie, originally, Robert De Niro was the one that they wanted to play Tom Hanks's character.
Oh, thank God.
Right? You don't see it. You can already see it just doesn't happen. It doesn't fit. I don't know how that would work.
His face is too mean looking for that.
Yeah,
you need a guy that looks like he's a happy kid growing up.
Even so, and I think he ended up doing Midnight Run instead of this. I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that. 100% sure.
Okay.
But I feel that he ended up choosing one role over another. But I think Big was one of those roles that they had wanted to cast Robert De Niro, which I couldn't see.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be definitely interesting because I can't wait to watch it and then kind of see. But you just think of De Niro as like this gangster mean kind of type. So
kudos to whoever decided on the song "Big Time."
Big Time.
I'm a big fan of that song. I am a big fan of the artist.
Peter Gabriel.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of him because he was part of Genesis with Phil Collins.
Pizza.
So like, yeah. So it's like I couldn't think of another song that's better for that.
Sledgehammer. No, it's not better. But I'm just saying
they're both good in their own way, right?
Yeah. So you're pretty excited.
I'm excited. Yeah, because I'm excited to watch a movie that's been around me, but just never got a chance to watch it. Big's been around for years around my views.
Yeah,
and it's been used in cartoons and all this stuff. These ideas of these kids growing up, or a character that wants to grow up too early and he ends up. Like I swear every cartoon has done that. Like even The Simpsons, even Family Guy, Futurama, all those shows have used at some reference of a little kid wants to be older for a day to see how that world is.
Yeah. So with that being said, we will tell you guys about what we think about the movie and go over the categories after this commercial break.
Hey, thank you so much for listening to this episode as part of the In-Game Boss program, a network of gaming and other variety shows. And remember, you can find all these shows on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, and Podbean. All you have to do is just follow and subscribe and enjoy all our other variety shows, like the In-Game Boss podcast, When Jeremy Met Nom and Finally Do a Movie podcast, Bond Never Dies, In the Cabinet Sessions. So thank you for listening. Enjoy the rest of the show. Hey, this is Jeremy Evans, the man behind the In-Game Boss program, a network of gaming and other variety shows. But did you know I do my own show? Yeah, it's the In-Game Boss podcast, a show where I challenge not only you, but myself on fun subjects in the gaming culture with fun guests. So come by and be challenged. And we are back with our review, well, not really a review, our discussion about the movie Big that Nam has picked.
Yes.
So Nam, 10 years, did you say, the last time you saw this movie? Has it been 10 years?
It's been more than 10.
Okay, so 10 plus. How did it feel to kind of come back as an adult now? No pun intended with this movie.
Dude, I love this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know it. Going back and rewatching it brought back not memories, but I could just remember the movie scene by scene more and more each time that I watched it, or each time that it kind of went through. So it did have a pretty good impression in me when I was a kid, because I do remember a lot of the scenes that was in this movie, even though I hadn't seen it in so long. Don't remember all the details, but I do remember a lot of the scenes. To me, this movie was, I can't say enough. I think, to me, this movie was well paced.
Mm-hmm.
I think everything had a purpose. Like every scene that we watched had some sort of advancement as far as character development, as far as just learning more about the people. Like I liked it. It was really a very joyous way, and I legitimately and laughed at a lot of the jokes in the movie in itself, because it was just, I guess it ages well.
Mm-hmm.
It ages well. So, just first thought of just going back through it all, I was like, man, I remember just being a kid again and just kind of watching it and how innocent.
How old were you? Do you remember when you watched that?
Well, I remember when I first watched it, I was in my teens.
Okay.
I might have been somewhere around the range of like 12, 12, 13, or probably around the same age as Josh was.
Okay.
I I remember watching it a little bit more, maybe when I was probably like 17.
Okay.
But I hadn't seen it since my teenage years, so
All right.
I don't know why. It's definitely one of those movies I think I'm going to be able to go back and watch on just like a yearly basis, just to kind of. I think just the innocence of his character in itself was really cool. What did you think about just being the first time that you got a chance to watch it?
So I sat and thought about it, and there's a lot of movies that we watch, but my question, I guess I'll ask for you and I'll ask for the audience is, when you watch a movie, what makes you smile? Like most time when people say that makes you smile is watching a movie that you enjoy, right?
Yeah.
So you'll go watch a movie that you haven't seen in a long time, and it brings smiles back because of memories and your memories.
Yeah, it connects to you somehow.
It connects to you somehow, or you're watching a movie that you just love watching over and over again, and all this stuff here. But how many movies could you say you actually watch and you couldn't stop smiling?
This one would be one of them.
That's how I felt about it. Don't get me wrong. I have my personal like Fifth Element.
Yeah,
I love that movie because I'm so amazed of how the special effects and how it got put together.
Yeah,
and I'm happy that it's made, but I never smile away through it, but I enjoy it.
Yeah,
this movie here, I smiled mostly from the beginning to the end. I was always smiling because it was so entertaining. Not a lot of movies can do that. Now I know it sounds weird for people to say that, but like, think of a movie that you actually watched and you just could not stop smiling. You were shocking, you were still smiling. You were laughing, you were smiling, of course. But you were just happy, and that's how I felt about Big. I really appreciate that movie because like I was smiling because I remember as a kid doing that, but I also smiling because Tom Hanks did so well of showing that there is a kid inside of him.
Yes,
and that made me smile so hard. When he had to go to the part where him and his where he had to show his best friend that it was him, that made me smile because they had to mimic this song, and like only he knew. And he's like, and I felt the same way of like, I don't know how would I convince somebody to believe me, and the way he did it was like that made me smile because like that's awesome that two friends have that special bond and no one knows, and like, okay, either you took his identity or that has to be really you. And they did a really good job. But I smiled through that whole movie. I smiled at like every character's when he was in that toy store. It was just all I just smiled most of that whole movie. Not a lot of movies do that.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think you can emotionally connect into a lot of movies, and the emotional connection is whether the highs and the lows. Mm-hmm. The you can understand and sympathize with each of the characters. I think with this one, it's just one of those movies that's just a wholesome movie.
It's a feel-good movie.
It's a good wholesome movie. To go a little bit more in depth as far as Tom Hanks is concerned, by all means, he was nominated for an Academy Award for this one as a Best Actor. He didn't win, but his character, just him, the way he acted,
he killed it.
He just, oh my God, he amazed me, and he did. It's not only just how he acted, it's the subtle things. Mm-hmm. And so a couple of the subtle things that I'll mention is that that look when he's talking to his mom on the phone, like he's talking to his mom on the phone, and he's just like, you can just tell me ask me a question or something like that, and I will ask him, and then he'll tell me, and then he'll tell me, and I'll tell you, and that's how you'll know that I'll be okay. So it's like, all right, tell him, ask him what is it that I sing to him every when he was young, when he was
a little kid,
when he was a little kid, and he just sat there and he just stared. He's like, are you sure you don't want to ask something else? yeah because it would be something that you'd sit there and you wonder about. Then just the piano scene, like you mentioned, I think that is the scene that this movie is known for, like absolutely known for. And the fact that he was able to bring, he was just being himself like a little kid, and of course the boss, the big boss, MacMillen, you could see that MacMillen slowly let loose, and then you just had fun, and then the build on that. I think he did everything that I would do, as a kid, if I were an adult and just got lucky, you get like arcades, because you talked about that when you were younger, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you would just get arcades for the house, bunk beds.
Yeah,
you'd be able to skate through that house, play basketball. Wherever you wanted to.
What if you had all the money in the world?
Yeah,
it was like, what would you do as a kid?
Yeah, so what would you do? Exactly, he did exactly what you would do as a 13-year-old. But it was the subtle things too that, like the baby corn. I don't know why that got me. The baby corn, where he grabs the baby corn and he starts eating it as if he was eating it. Because I remember doing that. It was at the party. Yeah, I remember doing that as a kid.
I remember seeing that in cartoons a lot.
I did it. I did that. I did that exact thing as a kid, and I don't know if I got it from the movie, but I just remember doing that exact same thing as a kid. When at the party too, when he was walking down in the party. And he was in his white tux, and you're just like, wow, look at that white tux.
Yeah.
And it's the subtle things, though. Like, he just looks at everyone. Everyone's just kind of looking at him weird. So he uses his hand, and he checks his zipper, his fly, to make sure his fly isn't unzipped. I was just like, oh, my God, that's so true.
Right.
It's just like, why is everyone kind of laughing at me? And, of course, whenever, like, was it the beluga? The beluga scene, whenever Susan comes up to him at the party.
Oh, yeah,
talks to him, he just gives him the beluga, and he just starts like spitting it out.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He just starts spitting it out, and he's just gagging like, ah!
Yeah.
Like, just little things like that, I think, throughout the entire movie, and just the innocence that he portrayed, and the believability that you got with Tom Hanks, I think made that movie.
What caught me, that hooked me into that movie, was the scene when he got the apartment and he got the hotel room, and right when that phone call, because a Mexican guy answered that phone, and that part where he blocks off the door with the drawer, and he just sat there hugging his pillow, and he was looking like he was about to cry. Right there was my hook. I was like, that's a kid inside that guy.
Yeah,
that right there was like, that sold me right there. I was like, wow, that is a kid inside that guy right now. That's not Tom Hanks anymore. Yeah. Right? That's a kid. I was like, I'm in now. I was like, yeah.
He knew exactly what he needed to do. And just the relationship between him and Susan, and how he was able to, how she was able to just be an adult, be kind of, in a weird, she was kind of like, the one that kind of sleeps her way to the top in a weird way, because that's how it was kind of implied and mentioned. But her adulthood and how she eventually transformed from kind of being the adult to seeing a very innocent kid or guy in Josh's, or Tom Hanks' character Josh.
And kudos for making money seem like a lot at that time, because when they went to the bank and they were like $187, I'm like, wow. Like, what they did with that, like, man, I wish $187 was worth a lot like that. They treated it like it was like $1,000.
You know what was beautiful? What was beautiful about that scene too? I'm not talking about the subtle things. It was like there's just like, I was like, how would you want that? Hold on.
Yeah, right.
Then they just huddled up, talked to each other. They go back. It's like, we want $100 bill, or no, 3 times $100 bill and 87 ones.
Yeah.
And you're just like, wow.
Yeah.
I feel that I would do the same thing. The 87 ones had to be for the arcades. And
yes,
the cartoons and stuff like that.
And just the fact that, like, that going back and forth with work with his best friend coming with him and all this stuff. Yeah. It was funny because it felt like at first that, like, the office think they're using that kid as a product user to try out the toys and stuff. It made that illusion, right? Because they always hang out all the time. So it's like, oh, okay. So Josh knows a lot about these toys because, he has hang out with his son, quote, quote. And all this stuff. And fun fact, this movie's PG, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I have to remember that 90s changed the ratings rules because the F word got used in that movie.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, I guess PG in the 80s rules were totally different than the 90s.
I think the language wasn't necessarily as much. It's weird, right?
It's not bad. Yeah. It did throw me a loop. I looked up, what's the rating of this movie? Yeah. It was like, okay.
Because
it is what it is.
It was The Exorcist in, I think, 1979 that really got the PG-13 going.
And
I think that was more for like the over-the-top grotesque.
Because the Goonies had the same harsh language too, and so I was just shocked about, like, I guess it was just the rules didn't transition yet.
Maybe language wasn't as bad until you just started using it, until you started using it, like,
Yeah.
like a sailor or something.
So
like
that blew my mind because it was the scene where his best friend what's his name, Billy, I think it's Billy. Billy was pissed at him because he's like, hey, we found it. We found where the where Zoltar is, the little fortune teller or make a wish whatever machine, and he just said the F word right there and walked out, and I was like, huh. And that was a strong scene for him, and I was like, okay. And they made that really clear.
It's funny that you talk about how language is something that stayed kind of PG. The next it went to more PG-13 as we got older. I'll tell you one thing that I didn't like it. It just didn't seem like it aged well. Is smoking.
Yeah,
like it was weird because every time I saw that Susan was smoking, like it was a big turnoff. I don't know why, but I think it's because it was so loose back in the 80s that and we got to the point where you couldn't smoke anywhere here in like the 2000s.
I like to think
it was just one of those things that I just don't.
I think it portrayed a picture of the stereotype of big business people smoke.
Yeah, but it was really just kind of her. It wasn't really anybody else. There were some people that smoked, but it was mostly her. Mm-hmm. So I don't know why. It was a very unattractive quality.
Back in the days too, like 70s, 80s, women smoking was an attractive thing at a time.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah. Smoking was kind of it's interesting that you see from like then in the 80s. I mean, that was really the only thing I didn't like about the movie was just the smoking was the weirdest thing.
I had no problem with it because I saw the transition changing.
Well, I knew the transition changed. I just know how it impacts me now versus what it did back then.
You're using that. Okay.
Like I get that. I get the past. Like probably back, like little kid me with the smoking stuff.
I always thought women with smoking were a little bit more hectic, kind of bitchy. And
I suppose
that's the way I painted the picture for those old movies because most of the time they portray women they're smoking, they're going through stress, so they smoke to release that, so they're like really itchy. That's what I felt like with her. But I think also on top of that, her record of men didn't work out, so they all rolled up to one.
Yeah.
And she was dealing with the guy that was totally jealous of Josh.
Yeah.
Her recent boyfriend, I believe it is Paul? No,
Paul.
Yeah, Paul.
Which, by all means, Paul did a great job being a big a-hole.
Yeah, especially the tennis scene out in the
little racquetball scene.
Paddleball, wall ball, I'm calling it.
Yeah, the wall ball. Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
We'll just go with that.
Yeah, so that was interesting.
You know what's beautiful about that scene too is I also love that scene too. It's just because he was
a kid. He turned into a kid.
It wasn't even just that fact that Josh turned into it or Paul turned into it. Paul
like
was a kid or anything like that, but Paul was just kind of like, I was like, I didn't say that. He's like, yes, you did.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
It's like you're cheating.
You're cheating. You're cheating.
And the way Tom Hanks was acting was just hysterical. Like I don't know. I just loved it. I do have some random like just unanswerable questions that I'll throw out there to you. So as an adult, he ends up getting with Susan, but he goes back to a kid. Is he still considered a virgin because he did that?
I don't know. Like,
because he obviously slept with her.
Not if he remembers it. Then no.
No, I'm sure he'll remember it.
Then he's not a virgin.
Then he's not a virgin?
I think if you remember it. Then you know, you're not going back in time. You're just going back to the way you were. So no, he's not.
So he could say he lost his virginity as a 13-year-old kid. I was in a 35-year-old body, but I was only 13.
No one will ever believe him except Billy. But
except for Billy, and then obviously Susan.
Yeah.
The other thing I have a question: did Tom Hanks create Telltale's? Did this movie create the Telltale's movie game? Because they talked about the comic book, the digital comic books.
Oh, are you going with theories now? Oh,
yeah. I'm just gonna say this. Did somebody from Telltale's who I am sad that they are no longer. When they created the games, you're just sitting there thinking to yourself, well,
that's tough to say because I think the comic book was influenced by the computer game that he was playing at the beginning.
That's true. But a comic book, that's like a comic book. You make choices and things change. Mm-hmm. I thought it was kind of cool. It was just one of those random stupid thoughts. Mm-hmm. So the other random stupid thought that came into my mind was. So Zoltar, right? So if you don't hit that dude in the mouth with the quarter, you don't get your wish.
Yeah, I was confused. I thought you just put a quarter in, and then he just shoots out a ticket.
He just shoots out a ticket.
Yeah,
right?
but no, I didn't know you have to literally aim for the mouth, and like his mouth was going so slow. Like you got to be pretty bad not to miss his mouth. But I just never knew that was Zoltar like that.
Yeah, like I felt like if there was a little sense of realism, you just throw a quarter in. Like for whatever reason, it came into my mind. There's something funny is that you can come like at the very end where he's like, you can come with me, and she's just like, no. Then you pan her, see her drop a quarter in, just miss the mouth,
right?
And he's just like, grant us not.
Dude, that would have been funny when he went there. He missed the first time.
Oh yeah, right.
And then when she got out the car, he runs, and then he gets it in there. I didn't think that'd be just so funny.
Yeah, exactly, right. Like I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, what if you miss Zoltar's mouth? Like I know you. Like physically you can't, but obviously they pan in. There's a bunch of coins just sitting there, so somebody had to miss Zoltar's mouth.
Right.
But it does in a weird way set up as a sequel kind of thing that you could do with somebody like a total different story because of Zoltar.
Yeah. And
they just call it Zoltar, the Shaq story.
Yeah. And I am sad that Big Time the song did not come in there whatsoever. In the trailer it was awesome. I was like, I wanted it in the movie. It was in the background of somewhere.
They got Men in Black in there.
Oh, Forget Me Nots. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't Men in Black.
Yeah. Forget Me Nots. Yeah.
The one in the trampoline scene, which was a great scene too.
Yeah, that whole scene, even from like You Want a Soda, was the fun.
Oh my gosh, you had the soda.
Yeah.
One?
So all of it, like I said, watch that movie, and if you're not smiling, then this is not the movie for you. Like,
you have no soul.
like that. I'm telling you,
your heart is full of ice and black.
I'm telling you, like I watch a lot of movies. And it's very rare that I'm smiling from the beginning. Like, there's parts I will smile in movies. Yeah. Maybe halfway or some parts. But here, never had a movie that I smile all the way through. It's very rare for me.
It was definitely good and wholesome. At the end, it was kind of sad, though, because, he had to go back to being a kid again. And she had to go back to
okay. It fooled me. I didn't know he was going to be aging as he went. I thought it was going to be in there, like, overnight. So I was like... He's just not going to walk into that house, right? He's going to go to Billy's and stay over there and then wake up and go over there.
So you know exactly what would happen is like you and me were standing in the street corner. It's like, dude, did you see that dude turn into a kid? Like I was like, Jeremy, let me tell you something. This dude waved bye-bye. He turned around. He turned into a kid. I don't know how the hell it happened, but I was just watching it.
So she's single now?
Yeah. You would just like, so what you're saying is she's single.
Kudos to the car that had the automatic seatbelt thing. I haven't seen those in years.
Oh my god, that's so true. I hadn't seen those in years. All right, so let's go for our three categories that we drew out. So the category number 1 was, could you see the main character be a superhero in a movie?
And that would be Tom Hanks. And to me, it's a no. I see him more as a villain because I think he could be a great believable villain that actually has a really good reason of why he's doing the things he does. Superhero, I think he'd be too boring.
Okay. So I took this in 2 parts, so I'm going to ask you the second part that so Tom Hanks. So Tom Hanks, yes, I do see him as a superhero, but I don't see him as a main superhero.
Okay.
So he would have to be somebody on the side. Like for whatever reason or another, I see him as Booster Gold.
Okay.
I can see him as a side
at that time. Yeah.
At that time.
Yeah.
I can see him as a side character, as a superhero, but not like the main superhero kind of guy.
Kind of like that guy that hangs out with Superman and Lois Lane. That one kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So just kind of like an offside superhero.
I could see him as a Flash, I guess, is the closest.
Now, I also interpreted this as that you said the main character. So can you see Josh, the character Josh, as a superhero?
Yes.
Who?
Shazam.
I knew you were going to say that because that was exactly my thought too.
Yeah.
Like first thought was Shazam. I can totally see him.
This whole movie
Shazam.
is basically like a kind of I think Shazam. I don't know what came first, but one influenced the other somehow. I think.
Yeah. I feel that you can definitely see him as being Josh as the character, be Shazam, and then of course the little friend Billy helping him out.
Yeah.
All right. The second one is the Get Off My Lawn award, which is also funny story about Get Off My Lawn.
Here it comes.
Yeah. So the movie Clinton with a
true story, by the way.
True story. The movie with Clint Eastwood called Gran Torino. You know where Clint Eastwood says "Get off my lawn."
Yeah.
Like Jeremy honestly thought that was what the movie was called. So we went to go watch this movie, and we went to go up to the theater. He was like, "Can I get a ticket for Get Off My Lawn?"
I was full confident on that too.
He said it was such conviction. I stood behind him. And I was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe he thought the movie was called that." So the lady
was
just
I looking for it? I couldn't find it, and then I took it off. I think that's what happened.
I think that's what happened. And she just kind of the ticket person just kind of had this face, just like, okay. And I was like, it's called Gran Torino.
Yeah.
So we got tickets for Gran Torino.
Yeah.
So we're gonna call this the Get Off My Lawn Award. And the Get Off My Lawn Award is the award in which we could have done without the character in the movie at all, and it would have just stayed the same. Mm-hmm. So what are your nominees for this award?
Scotty Brennan with John Lovitz. What's the point of putting him in the credits? I mean, what was the point of that? Like, he had literally one scene, and it was telling him, "Hey, don't work too fast." That's it.
Oh, so is that your only nominee for it?
That one, and then I want to say there was one other character in there. No. I'm going to say that one for now.
All right. So I'll give you that. I'll throw out two more people. Josh's dad meant nothing in the movie whatsoever.
Did we even see him?
Yeah, he was at the very beginning of the movie in the carnival.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
He was literally in the entire
right.
It was like he had a scheduling conflict, and he showed up at the beginning of the movie.
You're right.
It was just all the mom. Like, we have no idea what happened to the dad. What happened.
His mom could have been a single mom, and it would have been just fine.
And you wouldn't have noticed the difference.
Yeah, that's true.
And then Jordan the Kid, which was the other kid that was shooting Tom Hanks before they did the piano. So
what? You would just not have that laser scene?
Yeah, I think I think he could have been playing with. I think he could have just been jamming around with toys or a drum set or something, and next the dude just be like, "You work for me, right?" Like, I think you could have played it off in that way.
I don't know. I want to disagree with that, because I actually like that scene. I thought it was relevant because of the fact that, like, we never see him hang out with any other kid.
Yeah, that he was just randomly hanging out.
Yeah,
with a kid.
And I thought that was a cool thing of him, like, playing with another kid, and it's the first time someone walking in, like, why is that adult playing with a kid?
Yeah.
So that's why I
can get it. They actually gave him a name, Jordan. I was saying there's like they could have been just like kid number
I'll give
one.
You that, like, why a name? Okay, yeah.
Why you introduce him? It was like, hi, my name is Jordan.
Yeah.
It's like, my name is Steve. No.
Are we gonna pick a winner though?
Yeah, I'm still for the father. That's my winner.
They're both even to me. John Lovett's character in that, because
I will tell you, because I put John Lovitz in my next category.
Okay. Yeah, because
you can go with John Lovett's character.
I'm gonna go with Scotty on this one. You go with your dad.
You're going to go with Scotty. I'm gonna go with Mr. Baskins.
Okay.
Then the next award is the We Want More award.
Mm-hmm.
The award where the other characters in the movies that are not like the main characters or a side character that maybe had like 3 or 4 scenes in those movies that we're just like, you know what, they did such a good job of what they're doing. We want to see more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we want to see them expanded. We want to learn more about them. So my candidates, as far as I threw out there, was John Lovitz, who's Scott Brennan.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my nominees. Mrs. Patterson, the secretary.
Okay.
She was the other nominee, and Zoltar was my third nominee.
Scott, to me, wasn't interesting enough to me to really care where he goes. I think it was I think only because it's John Lovitz, you just want to see what John Lovitz does with that character than more what the actual character Scott does.
But it was definitely John Lovitz, which was hysterical. He has every scene that he was in. I felt that he did something that made me giggle or laugh.
I didn't get that one, I guess.
Because he
think it went too quick. I just didn't care.
Because he was just like, psst, psst, quit working so hard. You're making us look bad. You're gonna get us all fired. And you're just like, yeah. And he's just like, make the new guy do the Xeroxing. I don't have time for this. Which, he absolutely does nothing. Mm-hmm. Then there was the other scene where he was just dancing with the girl. It's just like, yeah. He's sitting there dancing with the girl, and he's just like, smell my neck. Smell my neck. And you're just like, why? Why would I?
It was a missed opportunity, because that would have been a cool little bond right there.
Well, that's what I was saying, is like, I want to see more of that, more of that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Then who'd you have in mind?
I actually picked MacMillen.
Oh yeah,
I wish I would want to see more about him.
More MacMillen do his
more about why he chose Josh over everybody else. They never really exchanged. Him and Bill, not him and Billy, him and Paul They never had that talk about why did you choose him over me. That talk never been established. I understand as a viewer we got it.
Yeah.
But I wanted him to really just say for himself.
Well, that's the reason why not Josh, but that was the reason why you can tell that was the reason why Paul was such a-hole about the entire deal. Is because it's just like, what's so cool about this guy that you don't whatever. And to me, for MacMillen, you can see that he was just he was done with reports. He was done with like research and stuff like that. He's like, what he wants to see is a kid's point of view. Kids like
I guess I just wanted to hear the words. I wanted him to say like, the difference between you two. I look at you. All you see is the money. I see him actually caring.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see that. I wanted that one moment line.
Yeah.
Where the music slowly fades in.
Yeah.
And then fades out.
Could have been towards the end, but then again, he just left at the meeting. Which by the way, Paul was all douche. He was just like, I don't get it. I was like, what do you mean you don't get it? Like, the one thing I understand about not getting the robot thing or the building to a robot is like, what's so cool about having a building turn into a robot? Like, I truly feel that. It's like, he was pretty precise on the, hey, it's a comic book that just goes based on your own choices. Well, I don't get it. Well, you're a retard.
Right. Everybody says, I got to go, and you're an idiot.
Yeah. It's like, you are an idiot. This is why you don't get it. Mrs. Patterson, I said too, is she had a lot of mystery to her that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like, she went up to MacMillen and she was just like, I just want you to know this was better than last year. And you were like, what happened last year? Because you don't look happy.
I agree with the secretary.
No idea.
I agree with the secretary.
Yeah.
I wish I saw a little bit more of her.
Uh-huh.
She was really only good for opening doors.
And just kind of randomly just.
It would have been awesome to see her in there at one time playing a toy with Josh just to kind of break the ice.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to see more of that.
So more of a relationship. And then Zoltar was my dark horse. And the reason why I chose Zoltar as my dark horse, it was just one of those things that I just think Zoltar would have been fun if he was in more scenes.
Okay.
And I think mostly just scenes where he's just sitting in the background. It's like, you're so close to Zoltar this entire time. But
I see. Okay.
You just kept doing it. You just
like he's kind of faded in the background on some scenes.
You see him at the beginning. You see him when they go on a date. When him and when Josh
I can see that.
You see them like, it just kind of like before they go on to the dance, which was an adorable scene. They go on a date, and then you see him at the end, of course, right? Zoltar at the end. But I just feel that it would be just kind of funny if just Zoltar was always there.
That's why I appreciate 80s movies when there were these kids movies, because they let these kids do the things that we want to experience or try to understand. Like the part where he's like, I never been with a girl before. I don't know how to act around a girl like this. It goes back to him wanting to get with that teen girl.
Yeah.
And just the part that he had, right there was the opportunity. Like, what do you do in that situation? I'm glad you showed that. I don't think a lot of movies do that anymore because they're very PC now. But I really appreciate back in the day, same thing with Goonies, where they're like, let the kids be a kid.
Yeah.
And let's enjoy that.
Yeah.
And so.
No, I completely agree. So going back, we get the chance to see Rotten Tomatoes. I think Rotten Tomatoes, the critics gave it a score of a 97, and the audience gave it a score of an 82. And so, which way do you lean?
I'm a 97 all the way.
97 all the way?
Yeah. It's a, even if it's a one-time movie for anybody that watches this, it just makes you smile. And a movie that makes you smile so hard deserves to be a high number in my book.
Yeah, and I'm with you too. It's interesting because I'm going to lean towards the critics, and I always thought I would lean more towards the audience. But I'm a little surprised the audience score is only 82, but I definitely lean towards the critics is 97. I think this movie was just fun from start to finish. Was good. It's wholesome. Tom Hanks stole the movie, just destroyed the movie. He was probably at his best. Not his complete best, but you can definitely tell this was
that was a really good beginning career.
Yeah,
it was a good beginning career for him before he got into the 90s.
And it's hard to imagine any other. To me, you look at a lot of movies we watch and we think to ourselves, who would be if there was a different actor.
That Tom Hanks is Josh in this movie. No one else can
it's
take
hard
that.
because I think he has the perfect look, right?
Yeah.
He has the perfect look and the perfect ability to just not take himself seriously. That I think it's.
I think that's the one thing too. I feel like the people were having fun in that movie, and that made me happy too. Because it's like I'm having fun because you guys are all having fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is because you can think of Batman like Michael Keaton's Batman.
Yeah.
Like you and me agree that Michael Keaton by far was the best Batman, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at Michael Keaton, you don't think of him as Bruce Wayne because you think of a different like look for Bruce Wayne, like Val Kilmer. You can understand him being more of a Bruce Wayne look.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's I don't know why I went
more
blank.
looking more educated instead of more of like a lean back
kind of like older gentleman who's not as suave looking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But Tom Hanks, I think, just suits like that kind of goofy adult, but yet like can't take himself too serious. Type of person. So no, with all the means.
Yeah. Shout out to the director. For earlier women directors, good for her. Because you told me a fun fact that she was actually on.
Yeah,
Thelma and Louise.
No, not that one. Laverne and Shirley.
Oh, Laverne and Shirley.
Penny
sorry.
Marshall. Laverne and Shirley. She was the first female director to reach 100 million with this movie. So kudos for her.
Okay.
Jeremy, it's hard to leave, but why don't you tell everybody else where they can find us?
You can find us as part of the In-Game Boss program, a network of variety and other shows of gaming, and you can find our shows, of course, on YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, and more on the way. We have other wonderful shows, so definitely check them out. All you have to do is like and subscribe, follow. You can always visit our Twitter and our Facebook page. Make sure you just type in the In-Game Boss program. If you personally want to find us and chat with us about these movies stuff, you can find me as RetroAm07 on Twitter.
You can find me on Instagram, the Twitter, and as well as Twitch at the KN Tran.
And you're more welcome to email me personally at the in-game office at gmail.com. Or, if you're listening to this on YouTube, leave a comment. Give us your opinion. Did you like Big? Did you not like Big? Was it too big for you? Or, maybe wasn't big enough for you. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. But did it make you smile? Give me a movie that makes you smile all the way through the whole movie. Tell us you're doing a good job, bad job. But we'd love to just get a 5-star rating. Heck, even download it. You don't even have to listen to it. Just show your support. Spread the word. Yeah. Show
your support. Most definitely. I apologize for if I offend anyone with language or anything like that. But by all means, if you're offended, please just download, but don't listen to me. But feel free to shoot me back any type of feedback.
Yeah, we just love to hear feedback. And what movies would you like to see us take a look at in the future of this series? And with that, we'll catch you on our next flick.
Dude, did you see him turn into a little boy? He just turned around and waved.
That's weird. Because I always thought it was an overnight thing.
Yeah,
no matter what happened, it was going to happen the next day. Not in I guess if you think about it, that was a long drive back to New York, to back to whatever the town they were in. So
exactly.
maybe now I guess it activates in 5 hours or something. There,
no,
I don't know.
I agree. I don't know. I thought it was an overnight type of thing. But she's single. You should totally date her. She smokes, so she does.
Do I need to get that Zoltar machine though? I should. Where was that at again?
Zoltar.